Hi everyone, welcome back to the Love and Lace YouTube channel. Today I'm making my new bikini top called the Livvy. It's a square neck style with darts. You can make it with or without an underband, and you can also insert elastic in there to make this a really supportive style. To take your fabric, you're going to cut out one front and one back in both the outer and the lining fabrics. Also cut out two underbands. And mark off your darts using either a fabric pen or tailor's chalk. You just want to mark the point of the bust. Now that we're ready to start sewing, you'll need a stitch unpicker or some embroidery scissors, your rubber swimwear elastic, which is available to purchase at loveandlace.co.uk, and some pins. Start by sewing your bust darts with the fabric folded right sides together. I like to work from the bottom of the garment ending at the point of the bust. And here, instead of just cutting off those loose threads at the point of the bust, I am actually lightly pulling them and then double knotting them before I trim them. This will make sure it's extra secure and that your seam's not going to come loose. I'm using an overlocker or a serger to sew this entire garment, which is ideal. If you don't have one, however, you can use a zigzag stitch instead. Now we're going to sew the front neckline. So I find it easier to pin the two layers of fabric together here. They should be right sides together. And once you've pinned them, go ahead and sew on your overlocker. But this time you're going to attach your 1/4 inch swimwear elastic at the same time. When you do this, lightly stretch your swimwear elastic. Not too much, otherwise you'll create a kind of bunching. It's just the slightest amount of tension, and try to keep it even throughout the entire garment. And then repeat these steps with your back neckline. Now it's time to sew the shoulder seam. So open up your fabric so that you're able to place your shoulders right sides together, and you want to make sure that you're matching up your outer fabric to outer and your lining to lining. Then you'll stitch straight across the shoulder seam with your overlocker, and there's no need to attach swim elastic here. And repeat with the other shoulder. Next up, we'll sew the underarm seam. This is what I call a rolling method. So to sew the right hand underarm seam, I'm going to open it up at the shoulder, like so. And then from the left hand side of the garment, I'll start rolling, and I'll roll up that fabric until it sits on top of the right hand shoulder. Now I can fold over the fabric on the right hand side so that the lining and the outer pieces meet at the underarm, and I can pin the length of that seam before I go in and overlock it. Again, you'll attach swim elastic as you go. Turn the garment back to right side out before repeating the rolling method to sew the other underarm seam. Now, if you haven't already done so, unpick 4 to 5 centimetres of the stitching at the centre back seam. This will allow you to reach inside the garment and pull it back to right side out later on. Now I'll sew the side seams of the underband. You want your fabric right sides together, and there's no need to attach elastic as you do so. Here I'm folding the underband in half, wrong sides together, lengthways, and just pop that to the side for the moment while we sew the side seams. So here I'm putting the fabric right sides together. Make sure you match up your outer with outer and lining with lining, and then sew straight through the side seam. No need to attach elastic here either. Bring it back to right side out before repeating that method on the other side to sew the other side seam. Super easy, and now you can see we have everything with a clean finish. All seams are enclosed between the two layers of fabric, and we're going to continue on with the fully seamless reversible method when we attach the underband. Now, I won't lie to you, this is starting to get a little more advanced. You can make it non-reversible simply by attaching that underband on right sides together. One simple stitch all the way around the underband, and then it's finished basically as a non-reversible garment. But here I'm going to show you how to make it fully reversible. Okay, so here I'm marking the centre front and the centre back on the garment itself and on the underband. And then I'll pop the underband right sides together with the main garment. Make sure you match up your centre front notch here, and as we move around to the back, matching up those centre back notches. So make sure that you're only sewing through 3 layers of fabric. That's the 2 layers of your folded underband and your front outer. Continue sewing all the way around until you've sewn the entire underband. Okay, so what you have here is your folded underband attached to the outer pieces. Now we're going to reach in through that hole that you unpicked earlier at the centre back. A little tip here, it can be quite tricky to tell what's the right and wrong side when you start pulling your fabric through. So I like to actually go in and just mark a cross on the wrong side of the fabric. You can do this with, again, with tailor's chalk or a fabric pen. Now reach in through the hole and take hold of your lining and the underband seam that you've just sewn. You want the right side of the lining, so that'll be the inside that'll be against your body. The right side of the lining to match with the inside of the underband that you've just sewn. And once you've got that, you can start sewing on the overlocker, and you'll find that all your fabric is now trapped inside a channel. That's perfectly fine, you're doing it right. Just keep pulling that fabric through the channel, just enough so that you can continue sewing the seam. You'll eventually get back to where you started and you'll have sewn your entire underband seam. Now again, you can locate that hole at the centre back, reach inside and turn your garment out to the right side. You've now completed the Livvy top with separate underband. If you want, you can go in and insert elastic into the underband. I recommend using something quite firm so that it doesn't want to flip and twist and turn inside your underband when you're wearing it. To do that, you'll need to unpick another hole in the underband. I would recommend doing that on the lining side of the garment, just at the side seam. So unpick a couple of centimetres or even the width of the underband, enough to allow you to insert your underband elastic. And what I would do is I'd use a safety pin to let me pull it all the way through, and then attach the elastic to itself. Then go ahead and close up the little hole that you unpicked. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a separate video tutorial for how to actually insert that elastic into your underband. And then all you have to do is hand stitch closed the hole at the centre back, and there you have it. You've finished your square neck bikini top. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. It really helps me to grow this channel and bring more sewing tutorials to you. And of course, I have more PDF patterns available at loveandlace.co.uk.